As of now, we already know that both Marvel Studios and the Disney company are doing everything that they can to solidify 2025 as a very successful year for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, with the upcoming Ironheart series on June 24th, already a guaranteed disaster based on the trailers alone, based on the TV spots, and based how it got ratioed across all forms of social media. Alongside that, you also have Fantastic Four criticism. You know, there are some things working against that, such as Pedro Pascal's politics, female Silver Surfer, aka Shalla, above Norrin Red, and many other aspects of that. We also know that there's a lot of things going on as well with Bob Iger, the Disney CEO. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about all of this is that, yes, we do know that Bob Iger is once again going at it to really go into damage control mode. He is doing everything in his power to really bring Marvel as a whole back into, of course, the way it was years and years ago, and it's just not working as well. We know that Bob Iger, whenever he actually goes against criticism, goes against any form of backlash, it really does backfire on any credibility that he has as a CEO. But let's get into the overall scenario of this. Now, one thing about Bob Iger is that, yes, there's a reason as to why he is the worst Disney CEO of all time, is because he typically lies to not just the customers, but also to the shareholders. This is exactly why I always like to call him Bob Liger, right? It's a very fitting name for him because that's what he does all the time, and he just strings along the audience and the shareholders until the following year with his lies. Now, of course, with the Walt Disney Company and Marvel in a very delicate position right now, after numerous flops at the box office for years, one major development going on now involves more to do with Disney CEO Bob Iger going off at the critics yet again and fans in the midst of the Ironheart backlash and Fantastic Four criticism. Now, Iger went on to deliver the following. As CEO, it is 100% my responsibility to remain transparent and direct with both our customer base and our shareholders. Two of our upcoming Marvel projects, the Fantastic Four and Ironheart, we view as our most valued projects for 2025. But what we do not tolerate here at the Disney company are those that share false narratives surrounding those projects. We have noticed a rise in criticism toward both of these projects that come from very passionate and creative directors and writers. And it's come to our attention that the rise in criticism toward those projects, like Ironheart and Fantastic Four, are coming from a political landscape, and that is something that needs to be addressed. We here at the Disney company never have and never will engage in any kind of a culture war. People like to throw around the words woke or agenda, and they just have no idea what those words even mean. Both of our projects, Fantastic Four and Ironheart, are valuable projects that honor diversity, equity, and inclusion in their own ways, that we believe will resonate with a large portion of the population that happen to be Marvel fans. This strategy of ours is a great way to allow our characters to become more relatable to those that either come from different ethnic backgrounds, LGBTQ status, gender, and more. So guys, let me just stop there. Now, he's literally admitting that these movies and these shows combined are going to hold the typical Disney message. We know that Fantastic Four has gender politics in there, and we know that Ironheart is also going to double down on the typical regular Disney message that we have seen in the Acolyte series, that we've seen in Snow White, and more. Now again, we know at the same exact time that Bob Iger, he is lying again, alright? This is the same guy that said months ago that we are dialing things back on the message or on the agenda. And then he goes on time and time again, as usual, that they never engaged in any kind of a culture war, that they never engaged in any kind of an agenda or anything like that. So Bob Iger, he flip-flops all the time to really just please shareholders, to please the customer base, and is really just hoping that maybe people didn't notice him saying those things before months ago. That's basically what it boils down to as well. Now, one thing is for certain is that we know that Bob Iger is trying to actually build some kind of a legacy throughout this year of 2025 before he steps down in 2026. And so far, it's not working at all in his favor. We know that Snow White was a bust. We know that other, movies out there like, for example, Captain America, Brave New World, that was also a major failure on their end. And the Acolyte series in 2024, for Star Wars was also a major impact on Bob Iger's overall stance as CEO of Disney. Now, moving on forward, he goes on to actually allude again, and we are proud to support that for both of these projects in their unique ways. Those that are against that are obviously coming from a biased political landscape, and it's unfortunate for our valuable customer base that wants to enjoy the entertainment that we produce. We ask everyone once again to let the product speak for itself. We are anticipating Fantastic Four to be very and wildly successful as a film. We are already embracing a high chance of this outperforming Avengers Endgame, based on the remarkable reception that we have received, and so we ask everyone to not listen to the noise and the loud minority coming from a political stance. Here at the Disney Company, it's all about the entertainment, it's all about the story. We thank our creators for creating the most successful Marvel films yet, and programs that we are sure will break records for Marvel fans. Our goal was to do something better than what we did with Endgame and other hit Marvel films over the years, to change course for the MCU. As for Ironheart, we celebrate our series for holding it as the most diverse cast yet, and we ask both our customers and shareholders to hold on to confidence for this new upcoming series with our 3-episode debut on June 24th. We aim to change the Marvel Universe in ways that will reshape our business model. So guys, let me say one thing again. It's not helping when you actually are making things political. The fact that he's bringing up the Fantastic Four criticism and the Ironheart backlash and saying that this is all coming from a political landscape is absolutely disgraceful and ridiculous, because look, there are valid reasons why people have a lot of criticism toward Fantastic Four based on the trailers alone. People are not fond of Shalla being used well above Norrin Radd as the Silver Surfer. People are not fond of the idea that this is going to be a Sue Storm-centric movie instead of Reed Richards, as it should be. And there's a lot of other things, going against this movie as well. And look, we have to admit, this is no Snow White. Fantastic Four is no Snow White. It's not rejected to that level, but there is criticism going against it. That's a given fact. And Bob Iger seems to be very uncomfortable about that, because he knows that this is going to create a major impact in his so-called legacy if they don't meet box office expectations, right? Because if they don't meet box office expectations with this movie, it's going to create a domino effect for 2026. That's a given. And Ironheart, we already know that's a guaranteed disaster, because it's basically a copy and paste of what the Acolyte series was, because it does not actually have anything to do with a valuable story. It just focuses on the typical Disney message and the typical Disney agenda. But again, Disney's gonna Disney, and that's just how it rolls all the time. But overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about Bob Iger and his usual lies, not just to please the shareholders, but also to please the customers that may not be all in tune with what Disney's all about and what they're really up to. And look, it really all boils down to BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. I would like to hear what everyone has to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.